Mayor Letham, Jane would like to know, when will the Mill Pond Bridge in Omimi be fixed and reopened? It was to be passed for the 2020 budget, she says, according to Councillor Ron Ashmore.
The Mill Pond Bridge was closed because of structural issues. They did a review of it, and it wasn't as safe as it needed to be for vehicle or traffic, certain weight to pass over it. There is another bridge on the Highway 7, not very far away. When staff and council reviewed the budget this year for 2020, we had so many pressures and so many projects that we were trying to accomplish, trying to do and afford, that the Mill Pond Bridge couldn't be done this year. So it didn't get taken out of the budget. It was never put into the budget for 2020. So it's going to be a top priority for 2021, but it is not in the budget for 2020. And we made that decision recognizing that, the other access point is probably 30 or 40 meters, just to the north of the Mill Pond Bridge. So, it's a bit of an inconvenience for people, and we're just asking people to be patient. We've done a great job at catching up on some of our assets and, affordability factor and getting on top of some of our roads and our bridges. And we've just had to slow down a little bit because, we're still going to do all these things. We thought we could maybe do them in 5 years, and it might just take 6 or 7 years to get there, to just keep everything at an affordable level. And unfortunately, that one, is one that we've decided to put off for a year, but they have my word that it'll be a top priority for 2021.
Oh, right. 2021 it is. Pamela asks, what is the budget for all the roads in the city of Kawartha Lakes? What figure is the funding from local, provincial, and federal government for roads? I think she means how much does each level contribute to help with roads?
Yeah, I don't have that off the top of my head. I mean, we get some gas tax, from the provincial government for transit. We get a federal gas tax that we put into a lot of our roads. I think we get $7 or $8 million a year. $2.5 million a year from the federal government that we put into our roads. We spend about over $50 million a year on our entire road network, but that's buying trucks, that's maintaining the roads, that's winter control, that's everything. If we didn't have roads, any roads that we had to look after, we would be $50-some million a year, ahead of the game that we wouldn't have to put into it. So
does that count salaries as well for people?
Yeah,
involved?
it's exactly. It's sort of everything that comes to do with those roads is part of that. That was 10 years ago. That was $25 million a year. So we've increased our budget, recognizing the needs on our roads. And also stuff like winter control has become very, very expensive. Our winter events are changing every year. So, we've increased the numbers to do a better job with our roads. Some of those numbers are increasing just on their own, just from the cost of maintaining what we have. So I don't have an exact number what comes from every level of government. We also get some tonnage fees from all the quarries, pits and quarries we have. It's about $1 million a year that we get, and that again goes into our roads. So we sort of take all the different pots, we put it in, and then we decide, from a capital project, what roads can we do this year. So
okay. Jim is wondering what you're going to do about Lindsay's drug problem. He's also worried about the new public housing development on the river, that it's not being taken care of by some tenants.
We've had this discussion before, and we've heard from quite a few different residents. I'm not sure what drug problem, that he's referring to in Lindsay. Lindsay's always had drugs, like every other small town in Ontario, in Canada, probably in North America. We don't have some of the issues that some of the other towns and cities around us do. Our local police force does a pretty good job at keeping on top of it. We've got a round table that they have with mental health, the hospital, the police, and they're proactively going out and visiting some of our troubled residents that are struggling with different issues. So they're not just waiting for something to happen. They're going out and sort of trying to preempt some of that, which is a great program that they do. The housing project is a homelessness project that we tackled to take 24 homeless people off the street. We knew it was going to be a challenge. We know these aren't people that are homeless for no reason. Some of them have addiction issues, some of them have mental health issues, but it's a program that's been proven successful in other areas of the country and the world, which is homes first, put a roof over their head, and now we can start dealing with some of the other issues that these folks have. And you know what? We're seeing some great results from it. Some of the program directors are saying there's a big difference and it's coming. Our police chief has told me it's nothing compared to what it was a couple months ago, so it's heading in the right direction. I know that's a tough for, some of the people that live in the area, and, we brought some troubled people together into one area, but you know what, sometimes you have to make these bold decisions to try to get ahead of things and help some people that need some help, and we're seeing some positive results there. So we need to have a little more patience, let that play out a little longer, and I think we're heading in the right direction there.
Okay. David asks, do you support Premier Doug Ford and his education minister in their education direction?
Do I? You're asking me to wade into that issue, are you?
Apparently
Thanks.
he is.
He is. You know what? I believe change is necessary. I don't always agree with the way things are being done. I have a father who's a retired teacher, and I have a daughter who's a teacher. Do I think the education system is working the way it should work? No, I do not. And I think it needs to find some changes. I think there's a lot of different ways it can be improved on. I don't like the fact that people just suddenly get their back up and say, we need more money, don't change what we're trying to do. And that's not just education. I mean, that's in a lot of different departments. There are always better ways to do things. And unless we look at some better ways to do things, we're never going to find better ways to do things, because people won't change on their own. We need to offer a top-notch education to our kids. We need great teachers in our community to do that. We just need to find a way to give those teachers the resources they need, give them the class sizes that they need, and make sure our kids are getting the education that they deserve. So that's probably the most political answer you're going to have here today, but that's my way of skating around the educational issue.
Okay. Sherry says, you cut counselors, the number of counselors, but increased your salary. How can you justify this? And why is the council voting on your salary and theirs? It should be a community vote based on what you say you're going to do, what you actually do, and how the community feels about the progress being made or not made.
Yeah. Well, the vote we reduced the councillors, as you know, from 16 and a mayor to 8 and a mayor to 9. We doubled the size of their wards. We used to have 16 wards, so now there's only 8 wards, so we doubled their area. In fairness, we changed the job description that they were responsible for. It was 5,000 roughly residents per councillor. Now it's 10. So we looked at that, number one, council did, as a different job description. So should they be paid differently? It's more of a full-time job. It's going to be more work, more events to attend, more residents to look after. So it justified the increase. Should we have done it ourselves? The last council voted on this councillor's salary. So we didn't vote ourselves a raise. We voted for the next council, and then people that chose to run were endorsing that. So that's how we decided to do that, as opposed to having the residents vote on it. That's what an election is. If you don't like the councillor or the decision they're making, don't vote for them.